Dr. James Dobson says that good parenting can be likened to flying a kite in unpredictable wind conditions. Mom and Dad run with all their might and try to get the kite off the ground. Just about when they are ready to give up, a gust of wind comes and has this kite sailing into the air. Oh, Dad has to maneuver around the power lines and around the tree branches. Is he able to? Yes. And the kite goes higher and higher. And soon they have to feed out more line. And then they're at the end of the line. Oh, the kite is boss. And Dad loses his grip. And the kite goes soaring into the clouds. There are lots of texts on how to be a good parent. But what works for one child doesn't necessarily work for all your children. They all have their own personalities. Most people rely on the trial and error method and learning along the way. I know that I had 3 daughters, and how I parented the first differed from how I parented the third. When a child learns a new action, we need to allow that child to do it for himself or herself. We can assist in the early stages. For example, if your son is able to put his shoes on, we can assist by putting the correct shoe near the foot that it goes on. Or we can allow the child to just put the shoes on, and if they're on the wrong feet, ask him, does that feel comfortable? And then he can decide whether he wants to try again. We want to build up their self-esteem with every action that they do. We don't want to overpraise, but we want to give them praise when it is warranted. It's a balance that most parents have to come to terms with. Also, when a new action requires responsibilities, we need to ask the child to accept this as well. In our kite illustration, the kite is the child. Mom and Dad are running with all their might is how we are using our energy to nurture, nourish, and prevent the many hazards that the 21st century presents to our children. Letting out the line is when the child goes from being completely dependent on us to being less dependent and finally independent. And when the kite actually reaches the clouds, this signifies that the kite or the child is in God's embrace, because we don't want the child or ourselves to be independent of our Heavenly Father. It is the opinion of Dr. Dobson, and I fully agree, that focusing away from Jesus' teachings to political correctness isn't working. The crime rate is soaring, and the number of abortions and unwanted pregnancies has reached astronomical levels. Dr. Dobson explains that the transmission of sexually transmittable diseases is fully preventable when we apply God's safe sex laws. For further clarification, send me an email. Dr. Dobson provides this sobering fact. that when you have sex with an individual, you are actually having sex with all the individuals this person had sex with previously in terms of microorganisms. When microorganisms enter our reproductive organs, they remain there to infect new hosts. Infidelity on the part of my friend's husband resulted in my friend developing genital warts. Needless to say, their marriage ended, and my friend, in excruciating pain and irritation, never remarried. This is shared by a 25-year-old graduate. The anguish and pain that you develop from being infected by human papilloma virus is absolutely excruciating. You only want to die. You remain single and childless, and you spend thousands of dollars trying to find a solution when there isn't any. I am sharing this with you so that others will not fall victim like I did. And you don't share this with anyone that can identify you because you don't want their pity. Just one mistake can lead to a life of excruciating pain, she said, and childlessness. Don't let this happen to you. Dr. Dobson shares that using a condom to prevent sexually transmitted diseases can be likened to holding a gun to your head that has 100 chambers and 31 bullets. You wouldn't pull the trigger, would you? I know I wouldn't. The fact that these STDs can be transmitted from the testicles as well as the penis shows that condoms, even when they are fully intact, do not prevent these diseases from occurring when the origin comes from the testicles, as they only cover the penis. The only safe sex, Dr. Dobson shares, is between two virgins and between people that are not infected. But how do you tell? The best way is God's way. Fidelity in marriage and abstinence prior to marriage. Dr. Dobson wrote this book with young adults in mind. He wanted to spare them of the misery that many are suffering today. I feel this is a must-read book. For the details, email me and I will send the title along. I hope this video will be shared by many of you and that much misery will be avoided in our young adults. Until we meet again, have a groovy day.